Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to For StarCraft 2 Strategy. Today we're going to be taking a look at a Protoss strategy. Now this Protoss player in this particular replay is Hasu, and our Terran opponent is Mayui, I don't know, something. So, gonna go right into a Protoss Hasu vision here. Now again, we're going to be looking at a Protoss strategy, and what we're looking at is something that we've covered before, but there's a few other things I want to mention about it, as well as we're going to talk about charging your lasers. So we're looking at the 2-gate into Stargate Void Ray build. This works very well against Terran players. Getting those pretty quick Void Rays can be very beneficial for you. It allows you to do additional harassment. It also allows you to force your opponent into the position of getting Marines, especially if you can get it before they're able to get Vikings on the board, or if they're going for some sort of MMM build and they don't have a really fast starport. You can force them into getting Marines early on with those Void Rays, and then counter those Marines by getting Zealots and Stalkers. Essentially is the idea behind it. So basically, again, we're going to be looking at it's teching straight up to that Stargate, getting that fast Void Ray, also getting that Warp Gate tech with 2 Warp Gates coupled with that. So we're moving into our opponent's base. Like I've said before, no reason to leave and stop your scouting information up until the point that there's a threat on the board. So we can stay in here until we see a Marine building. Again, there's nothing stopping us from leaving. I mean, he can chase us around with those SCVs all day. It's not going to do a whole lot. Something else to note is that we didn't see a super fast Reaper or anything coming, so we felt pretty safe in dropping our gateway at 14 supply as opposed to 12 supply. Now you can of course go into the game with your set build order, but slight alterations to your build order on the fly is something that can help you as well. Now dropping that gateway 2 supply later, that allowed us to pump out additional probes and get a stronger economy. Now I wouldn't suggest waiting for your gateway until like, oh gosh, I wouldn't suggest waiting until like 20 supply or something, but if you can change it from 12 to 14 supply at the point that you drop it, if you don't see a fast Reaper from your Terran opponent, that's something that can help your economy. Now that is a small alteration, and again, if you're more comfortable going into the game with this kind of set build order for the very beginning of the game, then that's something you can do as well. Obviously, at later stages in the games, you can never stick to a set build order, because in order to be successful, you have to be able to change things on the fly. Now going into the beginning build order here, what we were looking at, pretty standard with that 9 Pylon, and again, we dropped that 14 gateway as opposed to that normal 12 gateway. Follow that up at 15 supply with the Assimilator. Now once our gateway was finished building at 21 supply, we did go ahead and drop our Cybernetics Core, and then immediately after 22 supply we went with that second Assimilator. Now we are going to need those 2 Assimilators because getting this starport going for that fast Void Ray is very gas intensive. We started researching that Warp Gate tech pretty early as well. We did that at 25 supply, and now at 26 supply we're going to be dropping our Stargate. So again, we're going pretty much straight to the Stargate. We went from Gateway to Cybernetics Core to Stargate, and this is going to allow us to get out those very quick Void Rays. Now, when your gateway first comes out, you do want to, of course, start off with a Zealot to help stop any scouting information, and then also, if you do get some early pressure, this is going to help fend that off. Immediately follow that up with a Stalker. That's going to prevent you from getting destroyed by any Reapers or anything, and again, it'll also help you fend off any early pressure that you may be seeing. So we're going to be Chrono Boosting up this Warp Gate research. One thing I do want to note though is make sure you do save a Chrono Boost or 2 for your Void Ray. So if you do want to save 2 for that Void Ray, don't drop below that 50 energy, and make sure you have that 50 for when that Stargate first comes up. Now that Stargate is up, we're going to be going ahead and getting that Void Ray. As you can see, again, instead of using our Chrono Boost on our Nexus for our economy to produce probes faster, we did choose to use it on this Warp Gate as well as the Stargate for that Void Ray. So getting out that Warp Gate research very quickly is going to help us. Ideally, what we're going to want is to be able to have this second Stargate up by the time this first Void Ray is finishing. That way we can turn both of them into Warp Gates, go ahead and push forward with our army that we have thus far and one of our probes, create a proxy pylon somewhere near our opponent's base, and that's going to allow us to do additional reinforcements. Now, here's one major point that I did want to talk about. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to be discussing Chargin your lasers. Void Rays, very, very strong, especially when charged up. Now, one of the problems is, against Marines early game, 1 or 2 Void Rays aren't going to do a whole lot. If you don't manage to get your Void Ray charged up, you're basically going to get obliterated by the Marines before you do enough damage to take care of them. So what you want to do is find some sort of a structure to charge up on. Whether you make a forward pylon and you charge up with that, and then basically just quickly attack your units. Since they have shields that will recharge, you're okay in doing this. Attack them for only a moment, just enough to keep your Void Ray charged up until the point that you get into battle. Now, once you're in battle, you can definitely maintain fully charged if you're around any buildings, or, of course, when he pulls his units towards you. So that's something that's very beneficial that you should definitely try to work on being able to do. Now, it is a little micro-intensive. You have to be able to make sure you are attacking frequently enough to keep that laser charged up. But with some practice, this is definitely something that you're going to properly be able to do. And again, if you can learn to do this, it doubly increases the effectiveness of your Void Rays once they do finally get engaged with those Marines. Now again, the problem is with Void Rays early on is if you can't get it charged up against a large group of Marines, you're going to lose those Void Rays pretty quickly, but fully charged Void Rays are very strong. And I'm just going to go over specifically what we did. As we were moving by this destructible debris, we did fully charge on it, and then basically we just attacked momentarily our units as we pushed forward, and then we momentarily attacked this building right before the point that we engaged. Now, other options you would, of course, have are if you can get on the edge of your opponent's base, you can fully charge up on something like a refinery, or you can just sacrifice a pylon. You don't have to fully kill it, though, but you can use one of your pylons to fully charge up and then momentarily attack your units as you push in. Now, we're going to go ahead and go over that build order real quick. I didn't really discuss much of the battle. Basically, this was an effective push because of the reason that our opponent was teching up, and we pushed out so quickly, and that just goes to show you how strong warp gate research can be. You can warp in units so very fast. And then definitely a major part of why that push was successful was getting that full charge on our Void Ray. So going to go over that build order real quick. We started off with that 9 Pylon, followed it up with a 14 Gateway, and then a 15 Assimilator. 21 Supply. Once our Gateway was finished, we went ahead and got our Cybernetics Core, then followed that up with another Simulator 22 Supply, because of course this is a very gas-intensive build. Now, we then got our Stargate at 26 Supply, also started researching our Warp Gate right around that time, and our second Gateway came at 29 Supply. Now, dropping that second Gateway at 29 Supply, basically just shortly after our Stargate at 26 Supply, that basically made it so that as soon as our Void Ray was finished building, this Stargate was up, this Gateway was finished, and then we were able to transfer that into a Warp Gate and push out at that very point. And as you can see, that attack was very successful, utilizing that fully charged Void Rays as well as that Warp Gate research from those 2 gateways. We were just able to take out our opponent without too much resistance. So once again, guys, this has been 4 StarCraft 2 strategy. If you guys like our videos and you like what we're doing here, please do go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Keep watching and keep owning, guys. Basically, what I want to touch home on is that just because you're going for early pressure doesn't mean you're sacrificing everything entirely. Now, obviously, there are certain builds which will really hinder your economy if you go for them, but a majority of the time, just because you're building a proxy or you're applying early pressure doesn't mean it's cheese or that it's all in.